Welcome to the Euro Express with me, your host, Kevin Turley. On this show, we climb aboard the Euro Express to visit different European locations where we talk to people living there about their lives and their faith. It's as if we're hurtling through Europe in the dining compartment of the Orient Express with good food and even better conversation. So, all aboard the Euro Express. Welcome to Euro Express, and today we're going to Spain, to Madrid in fact, to meet two very special people who I am going to allow to introduce themselves.
Well, hello everybody, my name is Sofia Ruiz del Cueto, and I am Vice Director for Production and Programming in EWTN Spain.
And my name is José Carlos Gonzales-Hurtado. I am the President of EWTN Spain, EWTN Spain.
Thank you so much, Sofia and Jose Carlos, for joining me tonight on the Euro Express as we hurtle across Europe, hoping to have a good conversation about Spain in particular tonight. Now, you've put your cards on the table. You're both EWTN affiliate personnel working in Spain, but there's one major caveat to that, and that is, as far as I know, EWTN España doesn't quite exist yet.
That is to you.
Not quite, but it is about to start broadcasting, God willing, in December, 8th of December, which is a very significant date for all of us. This is the Immaculate Day of the Immaculate Virgin Mary. And hopefully that's our set-off.
Wonderful. Just for our international audience, the Immaculate Conception obviously is celebrated across the Catholic world, and rightly so. But is it a particular feast day in Spain? Does it have a particular resonance?
It is, Kevin. Historically, I don't know if you know or your audience knows, but Spain was, from the very early days, the country that was pushing the Immaculate Conception to become a feast and to become a dogma. So when it was proclaimed, actually even in Rome, you have the Spanish embassy is just facing, the square where you have a big towering image of the Virgin Mary, and that is celebrated every 8th of December. It's celebrated there. So the Pope, God willing, will be there this 8th of December. So yes, it has an importance for us.
Wonderful. So, How did this come about? I mean, EWTN is in many countries across Europe now, indeed many countries across the world, and we're about to come up to a very important anniversary for the founding of EWTN in 1981 by Mother Angelica. So it's very timely that it's starting in Spain, but how did this come about? And more importantly, how did you two get involved in it?
That's a brilliant question. He did it. It's all his fault.
All right. Okay.
It's all his fault.
Okay,
You're not going to tell him, confess.
I'm not going to confess to you.
Not to me, to them.
No, not even to them. I mean,
okay, to Kevin.
So I'm going to tell you the first part of the story, and you interrupt me, please.
Okay.
So none of us, Kevin, in reality, we are coming from television, and none of us, in reality, we are, we're not working, if you want, for EWTN. We have our own different businesses, and it just, as Mother Angelica is the witness of providence. I think that it was the providence that put us together. It was, at that time, I'm Spanish, but I've been living all my life outside of Spain, and at that time we were living, my family and myself, I was in France. So we organized a pilgrimage from Paris to Lourdes, and then from Lourdes to Spain. So at that point, I invited some friends to join me and go to Lourdes. And now is when I pass it in, and you continue.
Okay, so he invited my associate to go from Lourdes to Madrid, sort of small pilgrimage. And my associate came along and he said, "You have to come." And I said, "Oh, no, I'm terribly busy. I mean, this is on a Thursday. I'm supposed to be working. No way. So you have to come. So in the end, I went along. And 4 days before we left for Lourdes, I was in an adoration. And coming out of Mass and the adoration. And I met another friend who said, hey, listen, why don't we go for dinner on Thursday? And so on. Sorry, I can't. I'm going to Lourdes. And so he came and said, you must absolutely take me. I've got to go to Lourdes. And I went, why? I've been reading this book and I have to go to Lourdes. You have to take me. He said, it's not my trip. It's not my car. Let me ask Jose Carlos. Jose Carlos was actually supposed to be moving down. So his car was kind of packed. And so I was saying, listen, I've got a friend. Could he come? He's very small. I'm very small as well. We'll just pack tight. And could we go? And so that's how we all ended up in this car pilgrimage from Lourdes.
And then in Lourdes, so let me just finish it up. I mean, we went to Lourdes and then we moved. We did the pilgrimage. We went to Torre, then we went to Barbastro, which is another beautiful city in the north part of Spain, where you have some martyrs who were killed there in the Civil War. We went to El Pilar, which is in Zaragoza, which is where actually the first apparition of Virgin Mary ever in history, it appeared in Spain, in El Pilar de Zaragoza. So there, each of us, we were kind of changing our lives. I mean, I had a company and we were selling it up. Sofia, they were changing also her clinic. The other guy was changing and selling his advertising agency. So we were saying there, and we went to Mass and we were asking ourselves, what is God want from us?
Yes.
And we started praying. And at that time we thought, funny enough, that we wanted to put a Catholic school in Madrid. And then we came, fast forward, there's this priest that built EWTN in Ukraine. He comes to Spain, he talks to me, and when he talks to me about EWTN, and I didn't know anything about EWTN, tells me, it's such a pity that we don't have EWTN in Spain. I said, why we don't have it? And he looked at me, to the eyes, and he said, because people like you have not brought it in.
Wow.
And then he confessed to me that he was all intentional. It was all intentional. But then, I came back to the people that we went to these pilgrimages and said, hey, what if, in reality, what God wants from us is to bring EWTN in Spain, because there's so much need in our country. And so it started. And then, we started, we met the people in EWTN in Alabama.
When we met them, we were sure that they were going to say, what are you talking about? I mean, it's true, the four of us are not really into television. It's true that he's a businessman and he's a director. We have Antonio from marketing. My associate and I, we are doctors. So the first thing I said, okay, we're going to meet these guys from Alabama. They're on TV and they're going to say, are you crazy? You bring it to Spain? But they didn't. Somehow they didn't. So it just continued. And in the end, here we are. Yep. Hopefully on December the 8th, we will have started in Spain. Well, not us. So now we know, you see, the thing is, if EWTN starts in Spain, it's not us. It certainly comes from up there.
Yes. I mean, the fact that you've got no background in the media, television and film, and yet that you're the one that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. In fact, I think that's a very good sign. But so you've actually traveled to Alabama to see the studios out there?
Yes, we went in March, like 2 years ago, to Alabama, so we could see the studios and we could meet Michael and Dalkirk, and we could meet Enrique Brad.
Was that your first time in a TV studio in that environment?
Well, I had been in TV studios before, being interviewed and so on, and so they showed me the behind the scenes and so on. But no, that was the first time I was actually with my head thinking, oh, I got to do something like this in Spain, and that was very scary, because that's big. It's enormous. It's amazing what they've done there.
It's incredible what Mother Angelica did. Seriously, when you go there, I mean, first of all, if you're a European, the first thing that you think is, hey, this is a little bit like Disney World, okay? Because you have the castle. They have a replica of a Spanish castle, and they have a replica of the CC, church, and they have a replica of
Lourdes. They have the Virgin of Lourdes there. We were so surprised to see her.
Exactly.
So now we knew what she was actually asking for. She took us from Lourdes in France to this replica of Lourdes over all the way in Alabama.
Wow. And then the other thing, Kevin, I have to say, I mean, and this is obviously off the record. Everybody that we met, it was an outstanding individual. I have to say that one of the things that we all agreed when we came back. We say, you know what, these guys are really good people.
Yeah.
With the not only with the good intentions, but this is something that is touched by God, and it's such a nice people. I mean, seriously, it's refreshing. It was refreshing. It was.
Yes, I think I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I've had the misfortune of working in the film world, and EWTN is like a beautiful mountain stream on a hot day. Do you know what I mean? It's just good, clear water with good people. Everybody I've met attached to it is certainly got the right intentions anyway. I mean, whether we're all human, but the right intentions. But America and Mother Angelica, you know, the television world in the United States, when she decided to start the cable television, get into cable television, you know, it was a very prophetic move, I think we'll probably agree. You know, she was seeing way into the future in the way that television would shape the modern consciousness even more than it was by the 1980s. But in Spain today, is there a need for EWTN?
I'll let you have that one.
Wow. In this, I was in an interview very recently. They asked me that, and first of all, so that everybody, I mean, it's impossible. It's almost unbelievable. But in Spain, there is no Catholic TV.
Really?
Simple. Yeah. So I was talking with the CEO of one of the of Movistar, which is one of the platforms that Google became. And he was telling us, he said, listen, you know, I have 5 Muslim channels, and there's no Catholic channel. I don't know how many Protestant channels, and there's no Catholic channel. There's no actually TV channel dedicated to this. So this is to start with. But then, you know, I always want the people to realize this. Listen, the Spanish society has gone really south. I mean, I had a friend of mine that he said, so listen, Spain has a deep spiritual disease. You know, we were the Catholic country, you know, the paradigm, if you want, of the Catholic country. Yeah. And I'm just giving you some figures. I mean, 40 years ago, we had the lowest level of suicide in the world. We didn't have divorce. You know, there was no abortion, basically, and the no alcoholism, no. Well, today, you know, there's like 8,000 trials of suicide per year, which is one of the highest in the world. We are the 6th country in alcoholism in the world. We have the highest rate of divorce in the European Union.
Really?
There's more than 100,000 kids being killed in abortions every year. Wow. We have the lowest birth rate in the world. Spain has the lowest birth rate in the world. Not including, if you include the immigrants, it's I think the 2nd or the 3rd lowest, but excluding the immigrants would be low. And I can continue and go on and go on. And you know, this has happened basically in the last 40 years, 30 years, or 50 years, because we had a very healthy society and with the right values. And so when I came back, and you know, this happens to every Spanish person that has been out for long. And remember, I've been out of Spain for almost 30 years.
Yes. And
I realized that Spain was different, and the people were not happy. The other thing, you know, that is striking is that there's a study done by a company globally that says, hey, you know what? Let's check the happiness of the people globally.
Yes.
So how would you rate yourself being happy? And you know, they ask Indonesia, and they ask the UK, and they ask Spain, and they ask Argentina, and Spain is the 2nd less happy country in the world, according to ourselves. Okay? So the less happy country in Europe, according to ourselves. Obviously, probably the British, they don't see us like that, and the Germans definitely, they don't. But if we ask, you know, the Spanish people, they will say, hey, you know, we are not happy. And you know, Kevin, and with this I finish my answer, when they ask, what are the reasons that you are happy? There are 3 reasons, and they are universal. And the 3 reasons why any individual is happy anywhere, in the UK, in Indonesia, in Argentina, or in Spain, are basically because you have health, you have family, and you have God. Okay, so some sense for your life.
Yes.
If you look at that, our health system is great in Spain. So I guess that what we have been missing, or we have been destroying, has been the other two, family and God.
Yes.
So answering your question, yes, there is an incredible need of EWTN in Spain.
Thank you, Jose Carlos. That's a very full answer, and quite a thought-provoking answer, and quite a sobering answer as well. But my supplementary question would be this: if there isn't any Catholic television station in Spain, why join with EWTN, which is an American foundation? I know it's got affiliates across the world, but it's essentially very much an American approach. Do you feel that in Spain, if you started your own Spanish television Catholic network, people might say, "Oh, this is our television network," whereas perhaps people will say, "This is an American import. It's not really anything to do with our lives in Spain"?
I have an answer for that, but I want to hear your answer. Okay.
Sofia, what do you think?
So there's two things to what you're asking. First of all, as we have told you, we are not really into the TV business. For us, starting from scratch, a new TV would be extremely difficult. Yeah. Second, being no TV, and actually we might even go on donations or on advertisement, whatever it is. We would never get, if it was just our own TV and we wanted to make it just any conventional TV, we would have to need advertisement, donations, or any kind of finance. We wouldn't be able to get that if we wanted to start from scratch, because we have absolutely no experience, and people wouldn't know what the program is. Whereas now we are bringing a TV that is working worldwide. It's been working, yes, I say, since the early 80s. I mean, it's something that is only constituted. It clearly is working, and the Holy Spirit is behind it.
Yes.
So why should we invent something when there's something as powerful and as working so beautifully as EWTN? So there isn't much reason for us to actually start our own TV.
Yes, no, that makes perfect sense. I'm just amazed that Spain doesn't have a television network already. I know France does, for example, which is one of the reasons there isn't an EWTN presence in France. And such a Catholic nation as Spain, I just assumed there was already existing some kind of Spanish Catholic network. But all the more reason. So help me out here a little bit, because each country is different in terms of how you create a platform on which for EWTN España to operate. So is Spain, for example, do you run on cable, satellite? Is it terrestrial? How is the current television network set up?
Well, let me answer this one. And but before, I'm going to add another reason to your previous question. There's one thing, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's try to remember always, we are Catholic, and Catholic actually means global.
Yes.
We were the first global. When I was in a global company, I used to work, as I said, 20-something years at Procter & Gamble. She's probably one of the most global companies in the world.
Yeah.
So saying, you know what, it's very simple. I'm just working in a global company, and I belong to the global belief. Catholic is Catholic. And so this is the first thing. Second thing is actually fit it perfectly with what we are. Because we are not members of any political party, and we are not supported by any, religious group. We are just simple, light people, which are, we want to improve our own country and bring back, the beauty of Catholicism to our own country, and that fits perfectly with EWTN. So we say, hey, you know what? It's not only the reasons that Sofia said, but it fits perfectly with what we want to bring. Now, answering your question, in Spain you have Open TV, which is called here TDT, and you have to pay a fee to the government to get in, and it's so expensive just to get a signal. And by the way, the viewership is going down year on year. And then you have by cable, which are you have Vodafone, you have Orange, you have Telefonica, you have some other people, So basically, with this cable TV, you reach 75% of the population in the country, right? Because they belong to different platforms. So we are going this second way. We have now contracts with Movistar, which is Telefónica.
Yes.
We have contract with Vodafone. We are negotiating with Orange. By the way, I mean, every interview that we have, I keep saying, I'm going to send this interview then afterwards to them. So listen, my friends in Orange, I mean, you are not there. Your other competitors will. Okay, and we bring, the good thing of the viewership. I mean, as I said, the viewership of EWTN is that they cannot go anywhere because we are the only Catholic channel. If you want to see something Catholic, you have to go to EWTN.
Yeah.
So we are going there. And at the beginning, the signal, it will be embedded in the Latin American signal, which is currently being viewed in Spain. So you can watch American signal, and then will be what they call nesting. We'll nest our signal within the Latin American signal.
Right. So, Sofia, you are, I believe, director of the programming for the new network in Spain. You've already got some Spanish language productions in EWTN, I believe, available. But are you envisaging a sort of ultimately you'll be making your own programming, which is particular to Spain proper? Yeah.
What we're going to be doing right now is, as we start for the first 6 months, what we're going to do is going to use production that is already ready-made.
Okay.
It's either going to be from Spanish production that we already have, and we're also contacting different producers to make that available, and also some of the products from EWTN, Alabama, and even from Germany and all around the world, all the products that we have. Programs. Yes, we're going to have you. We want you.
Your Euro Express is heading to Spain already, I can tell.
Yeah, this one will be.
We want a permanent station in Madrid from the Euro Express.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. We could have a terminus there. Sorry, you were saying, Sofia.
So at the beginning it's going to be ready-made programming, either from all around EWTN and also from the producers here in Spain. And during that time, we will be doing our own productions that we will be launching in the following 6 months.
Right.
And from then on, hopefully, we will be growing, because right now we're doing nesting for 4 hours. And also we'll be having that on our YouTube channel and on our website, so people can watch it at any time. And then hopefully we will be growing in our broadcasting from 4 hours to 6, 10, and finally 24.
Do you have, either of you in your hearts, kind of some kind of programming that you're very keen to see on the network?
Yes, there's quite a lot of programs. What we've done is some of the programs we liked, we want to produce here in Spain. It's more maybe like realities or things that we need to give them the Spanish touch.
Of course.
For example, one that we're absolutely in love with is News Nightly.
Right.
We love that program, and we hope to be able to do something similar here in Spain. That's our main.
But are there certain needs in Spain, maybe educational or catechetical, that you feel that the network can really help with? I mean, you Jose Carlos, outlined some of the real social issues in Spain today around life issues, family issues, even health issues. Is there some sort of programming that you think, if we could do something about that, would particularly help Spanish Catholics, the Spanish nation at this time?
Yeah, as Sofia said, I mean, News Nightly, the other day, somebody was talking about the News in Depth, which is a new program that they will be.
That's right.
They will be creating alone. So, if you think of that, I mean, our motto, is, the beauty and the pride of being Catholic. And I think that we want to convey exactly that. There's people I keep saying, I mean, Catholic people in Spain, to some extent, they're going back to the catacombs.
Yeah, right? The catacombs.
To the catacombs. And the Catholics, they're not proudly saying, speaking up their faith. And the people outside of the Catholicism, they don't see the beauty of it. So I think that this is what we have to communicate. I mean, say, you know what? For the people outside, my friend, there's no more bigger beauty than being Catholic. And for the people inside, there's no bigger pride than being Catholic, and also the reasons for our faith, as St. Peter used to say. When there's a debate, I wish the Catholic people in Spain, and by the way, everywhere in the world, they would be able to explain, the fundamentals of their faith and how they apply into the daily and the problems, say politics or say social issues. So I would like, a Catholic defending life, strongly and with argument against the people that are attacking life. And those are the things that EWTN has to do too. Has to provide the arguments and has to show the light, has to show the truth. Because you know what, I keep believing that most of the people are just simply, they're not mean or they're not bad. They're just not ever heard why, the holy matrimony is holy and why life is holy and why euthanasia, which is, a law that they're going to pass here in Spain, is just killing somebody. And everybody would understand, should this be well proposed and with the good argumentation. So yes, nobody today in Spain is giving these arguments for those issues that are actually getting the society rotten in our country.
The problem is not only that, it's not that they're not only not giving the arguments, it's they're giving the opposite arguments.
Yeah.
So much that actually Catholics really, in the end, do believe, some Catholics actually do believe that abortion is a woman's right.
Yeah.
And to say the contrary is going against women's right. And they truly believe it, and they won't defend the life of an unborn child because they think it would be going against the woman's right, which is this lie that has been going around for way too long already. And same as they believe that just wearing a medal or a cross on your neck is actually being disrespectful towards somebody else. Because I've been told, why do you wear a cross? Why do you wear a medal on your chest hanging from your neck? I don't wear it. Yes, I'm Catholic. I don't wear it because I don't want to be disrespectful with others. Excuse me? Yes.
I have the feeling that the bad guys have been rolling over. I used to live in Ukraine, one of the countries I live. And Ukraine is a super flat country. And then you realize that during the Second World War, the Nazis went to Russia. I mean, they crossed Ukraine basically in no time because there was no mountain. Okay? And by the way, vice versa, Russians and after. And I have that feeling. In Spain, it's like, there's nobody stopping bad guys or stopping the bad, whatever, call it, whatever.
Stopping evil.
Stopping evil. That's, because it has been like, this has been like Ukraine. It's like being flat and no. So, one of the wishes that I have is that EWTN gives exactly that. Gives the light and and tells the people outside, hey, you know what? Happiness is inside. And to the people inside, you know what? You have to be proud, like Saint Leon told us. You have to be proud because you are the sons of God. And we have to remember that in the end, we are the salt of the earth, okay? And we are the light of the world. Yes. And we tell the people, the Catholics, you guys, we are the light of the world. And if we are not it, then there's no use. And I can say that. My boss said,
Yeah. No, I think you're setting out both of you are setting out a wonderful manifesto there, which is both understanding the culture you're operating in, but also how you change that culture. And the one thing that we will have seen in our lives is how much media, television, film, radio, print, how that shapes media, how that shapes culture as much as politics, as much as overt campaigning. It's that kind of soft way in which ideas disseminate across nations. It's true of the UK. I'm sure it's true of Spain as well. So I think it's fascinating, and obviously we're 100% behind you here in England and in the UK, what you're trying to do. But it's both exciting, exhilarating, and probably a little bit unnerving.
A little bit unnerving. Excuse me. I'm coping with production. I'm not just a little bit unnerved. I am freaking out.
But surely this is the true spirit of Spain, of Catholic Spain. It's the spirit that decided to go to quest for new horizons, to reconquer lands. You know, I mean, the Spain, the history of Spain, Catholic Spain, is one of great passion and force and enterprise. And presumably, you are the heirs of your ancestors in that regard.
No, absolutely. So, no, we are actually taking all those ancestors as a good example and trying not to deceive them and trying to actually bring back all that faith into Spain. This Sunday, here it was the Domum. It was helping the missionaries. It was a special day where they all the money they collect is for the missions and so on. And the priest was actually saying, listen, the most important mission is not out there. The most important mission nowadays in Spain is in Spain.
Correct.
You don't need to go to another continent. You don't need to go abroad, because right now the people who actually need evangelization are not out of Spain. They're not the foreigners. It's the Spanish people who actually need.
Yeah, I think that's true, Sofia, for most of Catholic Christian Europe. Actually, I think we no longer need to go to Africa or Asia. The mission fields are a doorstep. But one question I would like to ask, which may be slightly controversial, and feel free to not answer it, but Spain, like the UK at the moment, there's a lot of political discussion about reconfiguring political entities, and the difference, I guess, with Spain, unlike, say, Scotland and the UK here, is that places like Catalonia or the Basque region have their own language, and how do you start to navigate that when you're setting up? I don't know how the media does it in Spain. Do you have just Castilian across the board, or is there local stations, or how would you envisage that working out, or is that for another day?
No, it's we tend to try to avoid politics, and that has become a loaded issue in Spain. But I would say the opposite. Contrary to what you guys have in the United Kingdom, where Scotland was an entity that was separated at one point, and it was a kingdom separate. Now, I'm not establishing that it's part or not of the United Kingdom. I'm just saying that it has a history of itself, and Ireland definitely too, and even different even religions, or majority of religions. And the Scottish people would say that they have a different language also. In the case of Spain, Catalonia, or the Basque region, there have never been any other thing than Spain, forever. I mean, there's not a single day in the whole history from the Roman Empire up until now, Kevin, that Catalonia has not been other thing than part of Spain. And again, unlike Scotland, so that's. I have the feeling that this is a little bit of a fabricated issue. This is the first part of the answer. Second thing, we have to remember very carefully in Europe that the two most dangerous ideologies that we have ever had historically has been the communism and the nationalism.
Yes.
And this nationalism is not only Nazis, obviously they are, but this is the same feeling. I mean, it's rooted in the same ideology. And I would say that the parties that are supporting the separation of some parts of Spain, they have the same ideological roots than the Nazis. I mean, this is historically proven. So, again, I'm trying to avoid controversies, but the truth is, hey, Spain has been, from the Roman Empire, and even before, the Carthaginians, it was just one entity. Now, just jumping a little bit to the previous question that you had, I was reading before an author, a British author. I love, by the way, English writers. I have to tell you, I mean, it's like English writers of the 20th century, I think they're the best. C.S. Lewis, Tolkien, and Joseph Pearce, but this is lately, Cardinal Newman, Benson, and Ronald Knox, outstanding. So this guy, Joseph Pearce, who is a convert, so he is an Anglican and he converted into Catholicism. He was quoting J.R.R. Tolkien. J.R.R. Tolkien said, history is just a great defeat with occasional glimpses on the final victory.
Yeah.
And then Joseph Pearce said, if there's one country, one nation that has fought back this great defeat, has been Spain, and that has provided more of these occasional glimpses of the final victory, has been Spain. So we all, and this is a, it's an English author, and by the way, he was a nationalist English author at one point, and he said we all have to revere, which is a word that I just learned, revere Spain. So that is, it is true. We are, if you look at the saints in the past, Saint Ignacio de Loyola, he was the guy that actually said, hey, you know what, he's probably the guy that prevented Europe to become Protestant.
Yes.
Spain is the only country historically that has defeated the Islam. It's defeated in war, by the way, Islam and communism. It's the only country. There's no other country that has defeated, has become Islamic, and then has, fought back and pushed them out. Okay, that is why, by the way, probably we, some people want us to come again, Muslim, I would say, but it's the only country also that fought back the communists and pushed them out, and that was only in the 20th century. And then Santo Domingo was the guy that fought back, the Albigenses, or Catholics.
That's true.
San Ignacio is the one that fought back, the reform. You have San Jose Maria Escrivá, is one of the big saints of our time. And so, and Santa Teresa de Jesus and St. John of the Cross, same thing. So we have, I was reading, Kevin, when this I finished, I was reading, how many saints are there according to, I think it's called Martyrology Romanum. Yes. 2,000 of, let's say, 10,000 saints globally, and they're coming from Spain. So I beg, every night I pray for my country to them.
Absolutely, but you're also reminding me, Jose Carlos, of the great gifts that Spain has given to the church, constantly almost, in terms of spiritualities, in terms of the spiritual life, starting probably, with, as you say, Teresa of Avila, John of the Cross, Ignatius of Loyola. In modern times, you've had so many movements come out of Spain, modern Catholic movements, and it's this kind of, do you see yourselves as a kind of the media apostolate of EWTN as part of that spiritual lineage, that sort of very, classical Spanish spirituality down through the years? Is this, I'm hoping, is this another contribution from Spain to the global Catholic Church?
Actually, just to think anything of that kind really makes me very nervous. I don't really consider that to be as much, but I do think something needs to be done. Something needs to be done right now, and I'm sure there is a saint somewhere around that will and is doing something. I'm just hoping to place EWTN in the right place, to broadcast him all around, to do whatever magic he's going to do. But really, I think the thing is, to think yourself that you're going to change that, I don't know. We just want to change society. The best thing to do is to do it through the media. We do need media that are going to speak the truth, which doesn't exist right now in Spain. And if that saint comes along, we want the media to be ready to broadcast him all around Spain, to reach as many people as possible. And everybody has to get moving. The thing is, right now there's this big kind of feeling that, hey, yeah, things must be done, things must change, we got to do it. You're just waiting for somebody else to do it. Well, if we just take our little step at a time and we get going, maybe we will make our way for that big saint, Ignatius, Teresa of the 21st century in Spain, that might push everything in its right place.
I'm sure you're familiar with Saint Faustina of the Divine Mercy, and one of the things that she was revealed to her by our Blessed Lord was that we Catholics, we don't pray big enough. Yeah. Our prayer intentions are too small. So I think to start something as big as EWTN España, it has to have a very big intention behind it, which is the reconquest of Spain for our blessed Lord and his mother. That would be a wonderful venture, which would, I'm sure, once you plant that flag, there will be many, many Spaniards who will rally to its colours and want to be part of that initiative, because it is, one thing I know a lot of Spanish people, and I'm very impressed by how deep their Catholicism goes. This is something which is part of who they are. It's part of the Spanish DNA, and the current situation, I often think, like in some other Catholic countries, is a temporary guise that people are wearing. It's a facade. It will disappear, and the truth will come out in the end. Are you building the model on donations? Is that how you're going to operate in Spain?
Over to you.
Yes. So the answer is yes. We are building. Obviously we don't have advertising like I would say that any other EWTN in the world. We are, yes, we are going after the donations, big and small donations. The beginning is more big donations because, when you are broadcasting is when you are asking for your viewers
That's right.
donations. And obviously, that is when the small donations come. But the beginning is with big donors and people that believe on the same objective and they see the same need. Yes. It's one of the things that we used to say, it's building on what Sofia was saying. Yes, guys, stop asking what is the other guy going to do? Because, there's a lot of complaining. Oh, you know what, this is bad, things going south and nobody's doing anything. And the question is, hey, what are you going to do? You personally going to do? And, the other day I was reading one of the quotes of Mother Angelica, and she said exactly that. She said, listen, God selected you, specifically you, from all eternity, to be in this moment, in this place, to change the world.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. It's like then you just, you start acting, you pray, exactly as Saint Faustina used to say, we have to pray more and ask for more. And then you let him do what he has to do. Hey, we do our job and he will do his job. And that's it.
And I think from my own experience here in the UK, Jose Carlos, the interacting with the donors is perhaps one of the most rewarding and also one of the most humbling experiences of being part of the EWTN family. I can't go into details for obvious reasons, but I was able to see a donation the other day, a very small donation, but it was from an old people's home. And it was from a certain room in the old people's home, and it was from a very poor part of a city, and that touched me greatly because that person, that woman, watches EWTN, and from the very meagre sums that she has to live on, she was donating quite a large proportion of it, probably for her, but a very small amount of money to us to keep us going, and it's that sort of thing that keeps me going. Not the money, but that sort of desire on the part of our donors and part of the EWTN family that we are all involved ultimately in trying to win souls for Christ. And it fills our heart with joy here in Walsingham, in the studios here, to learn about your initiative in Spain. And if there's any way in which we can help you with it, any way whatsoever, we would be very happy to do so. And we wish Our Lady of Walsingham we will ask her intercession for Spain and for EWTN there, and for you, for your viewers, and all the good work you're going to do.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you, Kevin. The things that we always have three things. The first and most important, pray. And listen, I'm going to do a deal with you, Kevin. I'm going to pray for you and you're going to pray for me.
Okay.
I will, it's a better deal for me, I assure you. I'm going to live on this. But please do pray for the people in EWTN in Spain and for EWTN as a project for Spain. The second thing is spread the word. Just tell other people. I mean, we are not in the TV yet. So to get the donors, we have to spread the word and say, hey, you know what, this is a project that is coming up. It is an important thing. It is probably the most important thing that my country may have today. And the third thing is donate. So if you can, we are based on donations. So yes, we need money. We are short of the money. As a matter of fact, I mean, the COVID thing has stopped our campaign to ask for donors in very large extent. So yes, we are of a need of donations. So these three things, please do pray for us. Spread the word and pass it on, and donate if you can.
Okay, that sounds great. I mean, I think your logo should be no donation too large.
That's a very good idea.
Yes, think big. So listen, Sofia, Jose Carlos, this has been an absolute joy for the Euro Express to roll into Madrid on this occasion and to hear all about the start of your adventure. I do hope we come back in the not too distant future to hear how your adventure has started out on this wonderful road. And I think the 8th of December is a wonderful day on which to commence that. So thank you very much for taking part in this. And I hope to see you soon again in this situation, and maybe, please God, one day to meet you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Thanks a lot for everybody in EWTN in the UK. God bless you.
Yes, thank you very much for stepping over in Madrid, in Spain. And thank you very much for having us. And God bless you all.
Thank you and good night.